Happy Friday, Rebels, and happy Halloween! I'm your host, Maya Perez, and we have a real spooky episode for you guys. But don't be scared. The experts are ready to deliver you a treat of debate. Speaking of treats, the Dodgers and Blue Jays gave us all a treat of a 2-in-1 game. Game 3 of the World Series went to 18 innings, tied at 5 until Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off home run. Very similar to his walk-off homer from last year's World Series in Game 3 against the Yankees. Will Lewin, Madison Kelly, and Ziana Vasquez join us in the studio to talk more about the World Series.
Thank you, Maya, and welcome back to the Huddle, MLB edition this time. I'm sitting beside Ziana Vasquez and Madison Kelly. How are we doing today, guys?
Good. I'm doing good.
So the big thing is obviously the Dodgers just dominating. This is being recorded the day after that 18-inning thriller in Game 3 of the World Series. Shohei Ohtani being intentionally walked multiple times, but looking at the Blue Jays, Ziana, what's the big thing from the Blue Jays that you've been taking away from this series so far?
Honestly, Alejandro Kirk, the way he's been playing on Monday night, the most amazing home run I've probably ever seen. Mainly, what was it again? Like the bottom of the third or something like that, or the fourth. He was that home runner that he did just to make the .32, I want to say it was. Great.
Yeah, especially at Dodger Stadium. Not the easiest place to play either. Those fans definitely get very rowdy. They're paying a lot of money for those tickets, but they definitely show up and show out. Alejandro Kirk, also the first Mexican-born player to ever play in a World Series. Definitely an interesting fact there. You're repping the Dodgers jersey, the throwback Brooklyn Jackie Robinson jersey. So I'll ask you about the Dodgers. Going forward, what's something that you're excited with the Dodgers? Obviously, you've got Shohei Ohtani. You've got pieces like Freddie Freeman, who obviously won the game last night. But other than the big guys, who are the guys that are really kind of speaking to you a lot through this series?
Honestly, I mean, I got to give a shout out to Klein. He absolutely killed it. Talk about his intensity and his adrenaline. You could hear the commentator saying he's been locked in since the first pitch all the way till the end. And I know that went extra innings, but he threw a total of 72 pitches, which is twice as many as his career high. So that obviously says something. You could tell he did not want to come out. He wanted to finish this game, and at the end of the day, we got the dub. So I will say this though, this is not my original team. I still love my Yankees, but gotta root for the Dodgers. It's my mom's team, and honestly, on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, they're gonna crush it.
Yeah, well, shout out to Mrs. Kelly and all of Dodger Nation. But yeah, Will Klein coming into college, wasn't even a pitcher. Started his pitching career there, slowly made his way up, got drafted, and then found his way on the Dodgers roster. Didn't even make a postseason appearance until last night. And partially the only reason why that is because of all the unfortunate news regarding Alex Vesia and his wife. No news yet on that, but we are keeping him in his thoughts and our prayers as well.
Absolutely.
So now we look at this World Series between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, and the big thing is obviously people are talking about the salary cap. That's the big topic of conversation now. So I'll ask you first, if the Blue Jays do win the World Series, what are your thoughts towards the salary cap and what it should look like going forward, especially heading into next season?
I mean, in all honesty, I think there's a good boundary and there's a good margin for that salary cap, not only to be on all the players, but on, you could say, the highlighted players, the star players. I think majority, if the Blue Jays come out on top with the World Series, that might give them a better buffer zone in order to hit that salary cap or just meet right under it.
For you, I mean, again, for the Blue Jays now, if they win the World Series, you know, Dodgers have been getting a lot of hate over the last, I'd say, 10 years. They've basically had this dynasty team since that 2016 season where they lost out to the Cubs, who obviously went on to win the World Series. For you, do you see this salary cap being something that should be implemented because of the Dodgers' dominance, or should those teams lower down in that salary bracket be spending more money for players in order to have that winning team?
Honestly, good question, because like as Manny said, like it really depends on how the players really are doing, like the highlighted players, and see how they're going versus like the newer incomers. If you want more players in, mainly for the Dodgers, on how their salary cap looks like, mainly since they won last year, we had to like see the focus on how the Blue Jays, if they do win, if we want to make it more higher and higher, or should we just keep it lower? It really does depend on how the outcome of this World Series is going to go like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me personally, I feel like I'm a pretty firm believer that if there's going to be a cap, if there's going to be a maximum that you can spend, I feel like there should be a minimum as well. You know, the teams like the Oakland Athletics, obviously a big failure there from their owner, and basically took advantage of a team and a fan base that was very passionate and definitely have those community values that a lot of these other MLB teams don't really have around the league. So for me personally, I feel like introducing a salary cap is definitely going to be, it's going to cause some issues, especially for Dodger fans who are basically exploiting the rule. But I think if you're going to introduce that, it's just fair to introduce the salary floor and have those teams like the Pirates, like the Tigers, like the Rockies, who have been bad for a good few years. Obviously, the Tigers have kind of been picking it up recently, but they're still putting a bunch of scrappy guys out onto the field every single year. Now you look at Tarek Skubal, who's going to be a free agent coming into this offseason, and I feel like it's safe to say the Tigers aren't interested in re-signing him because they're not willing to spend that much money. So I feel like the salary floor is just as important as the salary cap. But financials aside, let's go into predictions. As of the recording right now, the Dodgers are up 2-1 going into Game 4 tonight. Madison, what are your predictions for the rest of the series?
I believe that the Dodgers have a great run, but unfortunately, I think the Blue Jays are going to come back with vengeance tonight. I think with Shohei being on base as much as he was yesterday after being intentionally walked, not to mention he went 4 for 4 with 2 home runs. I think the Blue Jays are going to capitalize on that and jump on it right from the get-go, just because of the fatigue. And obviously, you play an 18-inning game, almost five hours, one of the longest games in world history. Like, you have to jump on him quick in order to get those runs in and to win the game overall.
Ziana, what are your thoughts on the rest of the series?
Honestly, I think the Blue Jays are going to come back in Game 4. Looking at it, I know that it was a long game last night, but if they get their mind straight, keep it up how they were last night, Alejandro Kirk keeping it up, honestly, the whole team just keeping it up for the Blue Jays, making sure that the Dodgers, maybe another long inning, maybe not another long inning, hopefully not, because that was late up last night just watching that. But honestly, I do hope, no offense to all the LA Dodger fans out there or anything like that, but I really do hope that the Blue Jays do make it.
Yeah, especially for all the Toronto fans out there. I mean, you know, they're staying up way past their bedtimes just to, you know, essentially watch their team lose. And I feel like the most ironic thing about it is having a Canadian walk it off against them. Freddie Freeman, probably, if not the greatest Canadian baseball player in the league right now. And he does the job against, you know, Toronto's faithful, basically. But for me personally, I agree with you. It's this whole argument about momentum. And in MLB, it's definitely been a huge topic of conversation where we've seen so many teams go 5-game series, 7-game series in those championship series. And you think, oh, okay, well, they're going to be burnt out. They're going to be tired. Not only that, but especially for the Dodgers, they were having to travel all the way to Toronto in order to play that Game 1. You know, it's those kinds of things where you think, okay, realistically, these teams aren't going to come out. The Mariners did it as well, where they won all 5 games in the ALDS. They go to the ALCS. I'm thinking to myself, there's no way they can win this game. But lo and behold, they do a job. And I just think it really ties into that momentum where if you have, you know, a big break between games instead of those tiny minuscule windows, then it definitely kind of like affects you, especially mentally as a baseball player. You're thinking about what could I have done differently in that series? What am I going to do going forward? Whereas the Blue Jays, you know, after last night, they went straight to the hotel, went to bed. They're probably waking up maybe 7 or 8 hours later, eating some food, heading straight to the baseball field. They're not even thinking about last night's game because they just want the revenge so badly. So I think personally, Blue Jays probably take Game 4, but going forward for the rest of the series really is anyone's game. I'm just very glad that, you know, the Dodgers with their superpower team, they're not like completely crushing the Blue Jays. That's what I didn't want. I didn't want a 4-0 sweep, you know. That was the last thing I wanted.
Exactly.
But again, guys, I really appreciate you coming on to the Huddle today. Thank you guys for joining us. And as a speaker, Madison and I of UNLV Baseball, make sure to catch the game this Saturday if you're looking for some baseball action once the World Series ends. Baseball is going to be up and running in the spring season. But that's going to do us for here at the Huddle. Maya, take it away.
Thank you guys for keeping it short. Unlike the Dodgers and Blue Jays, I'm just joking. I could listen to you guys talk ball all day long. But lucky for us, we have Jeremiah Skillman, Whitaker Lummis, and Marcus Miles ready to discuss who they are picking as their early NBA MVP and Rookie of the Year picks. Take it away, Jeremiah.
Thank you, Maya. Let's take our MVP debate right now. For me, I'm taking Victor Wembanyama What about y'all? What about y'all? What about y'all?
I got my boy Luka Doncic all day. How about you?
I got Giannis, hometown hero.
All right, explain your pick, Jeremiah.
For me, bro, Victor Wembanyama, he's unstoppable. Nobody could guard Victor Wembanyama. If he plays a full season, he would have won MVP low-key last year if he didn't get injured. But this season, he's gonna win MVP if he plays all 82 games because nobody could guard him. He's the best. He's the best player. He's an alien, dude. He's an alien, bro. That's all you gotta know.
Go ahead.
Even though I got his jersey on, I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I know Victor, he's an alien, as you said, but I think Giannis, especially without Damian Lillard, we saw when he won back-to-back, he didn't really have that star player next to him. He had Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez and Drew Holiday, and I see some shades of that in this year's team, and so I'm taking Giannis to take home the MVP, third year for him.
All right, I'm sure you guys heard me last week with Luka Doncic. I said that he was going to have an MVP caliber season, and so far he started off the season with 43 points and 49 points. And listen, you can't just call one of the best players in the world, a guy that just went to the finals, averaged 34, 9, and 10 on a 50-win team on that same team, and you can't tell him that he's a fat ass, pretty much, essentially, excuse my language, and think that he's not going to respond this season. He's absolutely going to respond, and he's going to have an MVP season without a shadow of a doubt.
No, he's not, dude. But I do like how you mentioned his points because Austin Reeves just had 50 points, so maybe he's MVP.
Yeah, based on my logic.
I mean, if we're gonna say that, right?
Hey, Cam Thomas is the GOAT then, bro.
Bro, wait.
3 40-point games last year and another 40 ball with MPJ on this team.
All right, you
That
acting like
takes
my
skill.
entire argument was the point argument. It wasn't the entire point argument. He averaged 34, 9, and 10 just 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, that's fair.
On a 51
Once he starts
team.
playing some defense, I'll consider it.
Facts.
Oh,
He
he's
plays
been-
no defense. But he gotta stay healthy. He's out for like 2 weeks, bro.
Only 1 week.
And then that was gonna be another
But
week.
then you factor in that LeBron's gonna be out. What? Is DeAndre Ayton's gonna carry them?
Bro, they got Bronny James, dude. Don't ever disrespect
the same
Bronny
point
ever
you made
again.
about Giannis and having
Yeah.
Damian Lillard out. You can make the same point for Luka. He's going to have even more opportunity to shine with LeBron out.
Yeah, but if he can't stay healthy, and Luka and LeBron's out,
He just had a minor injury. We're acting like he just broke his leg and he's going to be out for half of the season. Why are we acting like
that's fair?
It's
That's
a
fair.
sprained finger?
Yeah.
A sprained finger. We're acting like he's out for half of the season.
What
Are we
about Victor
serious right
Wembanyama,
now?
though? What about Victor, though?
I'll give it to you. Victor has been crazy.
Victor's a
He's
dog, bro.
unguardable. He's unguardable.
I haven't seen nobody be able to guard Victor.
Yeah.
Have you?
No.
Have you?
He couldn't eat. The Mavs front court couldn't even handle him.
Hey,
That's crazy.
Don't ever disrespect Derek Lively, though. That boy's a dog.
Yeah, he wasn't a
Yeah,
dog.
but-
He wasn't a dog against Wembanyama. No disrespect,
wait.
because I mean it's Wembanyama, bro. But
All right. So we talked about Victor and the Spurs. So that's gonna bring me to my next argument. Rookie of the year. For me, I'm taking Dylan Harper. And wait. When Dylan Harper wins, it's gonna be crazy because Victor won, Stephon Castle won, and then this year is gonna be Dylan Harper. That's 3 years in a row. A Spurs is winning Rookie of the Year.
I would like just to butt in real quick. One, Victor totally deserves it. Castle, he's good. But there are a lot of people out that class wasn't that talented. And with how many? With Victor, with D Fox, with Carter Bryant, I just think it's going to be really hard for Dylan Harper to get Rookie of the Year compared to someone like VJ Edgecombe, where we know Joel Embiid is injury prone. So he's going to be out. Jared McCain's already out. So that just brings him and Tyrese Maxey with guard play. And so I think Edgecombe is gonna, and he's already proved that this season, he's gonna have a higher volume of shots than Dylan Harper. And Dylan Harper is definitely capable. I just don't think he'll do it this season.
Wait, is Kelly Oubre still on that team?
I have no idea.
honestly, that Sixers roster is just like you just play hit or miss.
Wait,
because
isn't
like
Paul
entire
George
last
right?
season, I don't know.
He
how
is.
many
He's out,
games,
right?
man.
Paul
He's
George
out.
is on that
He
team,
was supposed
yes.
to play, and then of course, not shocker, out for this week. But no, I definitely agree with what Whit was saying. I definitely think VJ is the correct pick for Rookie of the Year. He obviously is going to have way much more ample opportunity. I think Witt hit on everything that I was going to say. There's no point for me to reiterate everything that he just said, but VJ's my pick as well.
I mean, I can understand that. He has been a dog recently. I'm not going to lie. Watching him is like, man, he's beautiful. But I think my stand is Dylan Harper only because I want the Spurs to go 3 for 3. And the Spurs to go 3 for 3 will be beautiful.
Hey.
That'll be legendary.
Talking off that point, when I was at Summer League, Carter Bryant is literally one of the best defenders I've ever seen in Summer League.
He's tough.
And I think Carter Bryant has a chance to do like what Dennis Rodman did. Not a lot of points, but his impact on the floor, oh my gosh. It's 1-of-1. So Carter Bryant
flies across the floor. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
That's crazy.
You know, oftentimes the highlights are always the crossovers, the step backs, but I love a defensive highlight tape, and there's no defensive highlight tape better than Carter Bryant.
He really be in there like defense.
Reminds me of Tony Allen. And so, yeah, Carter Bryant is crazy. Who do you think is that guy that doesn't show up in the box score but really has a lot of impact on the court?
I mean, there's a good number of those guys across the NBA. I think the biggest one, obviously, last season was Lou Dort. He was just a dog out there. Just even if he wasn't making his shots or playing ethical defense, to say the least, he always got in the head of every other team, and he always did his best job to disrupt the flow of every other team.
I could feel that, but wait, I just realized we didn't bring up SGA at all. Is SGA not in the MVP conversation?
He is, but I think it's that voter fatigue.
Yeah, I think voter fatigue is going to come in.
But we saw it with Jokic. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, Jokic has 3, and
Sorry, Middleton.
And can't disrespect Chris Middleton here.
Oh, Washington Wizards with Chris Middleton.
You know, they got a good little squad going with, Trey Johnson.
They do have
He's tough.
Alex Sarr.
Alex Sarr is
We
tough.
just missing Chris Middleton.
Who is that one big that they have? I think he's a Swiss guy. Has the afro. I don't remember his name, but he's also, it's not Koulibaly, no. It's, I don't know, but they got a really good squad too.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. Another underrated squad, who would you guys take for like this season?
Yeah, who's your sleeper pick? Like, who's that young team that was like the Thunder, who were sneaking around but couldn't really get over the hump? Who do you think gets over the hump this season?
Okay. This might be a little biased, but wait. So this team's not young. They're actually old. But they're a bit of sleepers. The Warriors.
Oh God.
But let's be real. Let's be real, bro. They look pretty decent. Al Horford came off the bench for their first couple games. He was he's not a scorer, but he helped them out. Draymond Green, of course.
How many players over 30 does that roster have?
Like 8, but hey, or like 6, 7.
Yeah, good.
No. But for real,
Good luck getting through 82 games.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Good luck.
They're not
That's all I'm
holding
going to
up.
say. They're on paper.
Your squad too, though.
You have a young roster.
Who's your squad? For the camera. Who's your squad?
The Los Angeles Lakers, obviously.
Go Bronny!
Obviously, Los Angeles
Hey,
Lakers.
is Bronny
are the-
MVP next year?
Get out of here, man.
I'm a Warriors
Get outta
fan,
here,
though,
man.
so I'm going to stay with my Warriors. I ain't gonna lie. I got to stay with them. What about you?
I'm gonna let you have it.
Bucks all the way, honestly. I could tell you who's not going to make that jump is the Rockets and the Magic.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not high on the Rockets this year.
Well, we'll have to keep this up next week because that's all we have.
Thank you, guys. Personally, I got the GOAT LeBron as my MVP. I have a poster of him above my bed, so you know I had to. But now we move on to the NFL with Ariel Meza, Kyle Sparrow, and Marcus Miles. The NFL trade deadline is in 4 days on November 4th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Kyle, go ahead.
Thank you, Maya, and happy Halloween to our viewers. I'm joined here with Marcus and Ariel, and one of the points of emphasis this week are going to be the NFL trade deadline. Obviously, you guys know the trade deadline's on the 4th, and there are a couple targets that we are seeing teams kind of focus in on. So starting off with you, Marcus, what do you think?
I mean, wide receiver, hot topic. A.J. Brown swirls. Adam Schefter saying he doesn't think it's going to happen. But one name that I truly believe could be dealt is Jalen Waddle. Dolphins definitely not having the season they thought they were going to have. Jalen Waddle's still on his rookie contract. Wide receivers getting paid an absurd amount of money now. I could definitely see him dealt to a team like your Buffalo Bills, who are in need of a wide receiver, to help them make that jump to a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about it, actually. You know, the Buffalo Bills, you kind of look at their room right now, and it's not that good of a wide receiver room. You know?
It's not that
You
great.
don't really have a designated wide receiver one, which if you could pick one, it'd be our slot receiver, Khalil Shakir. But no, I like the Jalen Waddle trade a lot. If it happens, I'll be happy with it, obviously. But another subject player that kind of is swirling for the Bills as a trade target is Chris Olave of the New Orleans Saints. Now, yes, he's been plagued with injuries. Yes, we haven't gotten to see him really shine. But I think in a room like the Bills room with Josh Allen, we could really see those deep balls. And at Ohio State, we did see him excel with Justin Fields at the helm. So I think either Jalen Waddle or Chris Olave I take personally. What about you, Ariel?
Well, yeah, I feel like Chris Olave kind of has been in that QB carousel-like situation. He's just constantly getting a new QB year after year, maybe 2 QBs a year. So he hasn't really gotten the opportunity to prove himself to shine. So I think that would probably be a good pick. I don't know if I necessarily think he's a top talent that would push you guys there, but probably be better than what you guys have right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, you take a look at Keon Coleman, right? And I think that, like, yes, we need to give him time to develop, but at the same time, you know, you kind of are starting to realize, hey, yes, he's a contested threat, can catch some deep balls, but he hasn't really shown out. Khalil Shakir's shown out, but I think, honestly, only time will tell. What about your team? I know you're a Raiders fan. What do we got going on there?
I mean, Jacoby Myers, the talk of the town right now. Is he going to get traded? But also, Max Crosby, the Raiders, very quick in shutting those trade rumors down. But if someone walks over to you, like Ariel's Dallas Cowboys, if someone walks over to you with 3 first-round picks, it's kind of hard to say no to that. But looking at Jacoby Myers, potentially an easier trade target for the Bills, it's going to be harder for the Bills to make a move because the Raiders will get a compensatory pick for Jacoby Myers, but it's going to be in 2027, not 2026. So if this Pete Carroll era wants to move up their timeline, they could trade him for that 4th-round pick. It would be an earlier pick as well, but also in that 2026 draft versus that 27.
And then, sorry to cut you off, but, you know, talk about Max Crosby, you know, the kind of leadership he brings to that Raiders team. Do you feel like, in my opinion, like, yes, 3 first-round picks is a lot, but you're getting rid of a leader, a guy who can potentially turn you from a good team to a great team, especially on the defensive side.
Absolutely. I mean, he is the heart and soul of Raider Nation and that football team. When you think of Raider, you think of the Howie Longs, the Max Crosbys, the Jim Plunkett's. These guys are who would be enshrined in Raider history forever, and it is such a hard guy to trade away. But he made it very clear before he signs his extension this offseason, he wants to be on a winning football team. And you want to do what's best for him as a human and as a player. And sometimes you got to question whether that's here with the Raiders. But if you're the Pete Carroll era, the nation will hate you. They will never forgive you. You can't trade a guy like that. You got to keep him in Vegas.
Right, and I mean, real quick, you mentioned on the show before that they need to just blow it up. And you started with Max Crosby, maybe even getting rid of Myers. And I jokingly said, Cowboys, please. And then a week later, we see the Cowboys actually did reach out for him. It looks like the Raiders are going to say no. But that brings me to the Cowboys. Like, they need to make, and it's not just one trade, they need to make a lot of trades to fix this team. They want to push for a Super Bowl now. I mean, in my opinion, Dak Prescott's playing the best he's ever played. If you want to go for a Super Bowl, it's now. But you can't do that with his defense, right, guys?
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you take a look at the Micah Parsons trade to the Packers, excuse me,
yeah.
and, you know, you guys did get compensation. You guys did get you guys got a D tackle, Kenny Clark. But, you know, when you take a guy like Micah Parsons, yes, I know you've made the fact that, yes, postseason comes around and he's not there. But you talk about guys like Max Crosby and all that stuff. Micah Parsons is kind of on the same level of Max Crosby. And I think I love the Max Crosby to the Dallas Cowboys. I love it. I think you guys need another edge rusher, anything to shore up that defense.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think you guys kind of shot yourselves in the foot with that Micah Parsons trade. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, we really wouldn't be stopping the run as much as everyone thinks. Like, we'd be
yeah.
the same issue. but maybe he would cause enough pressures to help that secondary out. The big issue right now is our secondary. They're depleted, they're injured. Diggs got hurt at home somehow. I don't understand. Bland's kind of been here and there. He's got a pick six, but then he kind of disappears. And it's really the scheme, I think, under Eberflus. It's not working well. We do have some rookies coming back, Overshown coming back, hopefully in the linebacker position, so that should help us out. But like you said, we need to make a trade. They reached out for Trey Hendrickson too, and they said no on that. Reached out to another guy for the Bengals, said no on that. So it's just like, where can the Cowboys find help? Again, like I said, they need to find it this season, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. Where do you think they find that help?
I think it obviously, with the trade deadline, we do see a lot of kind of random players, or we see star players go to teams that we never would have thought that they'd go to. And I think that's just the beauty of the trade deadline, because you take a look, for example, I'm going to use the Cowboys-Packers situation once again. You don't think Micah Parsons is going to the Packers.
Yeah,
I remember we were in class and it broke, and you look at your phone and you're like, holy crap, Micah Parsons has just been traded to the Packers. But I think, as I said before, that's the beauty of the trade deadline. Going back to the Cowboys, I think you guys just need some defensive players, just not even I would say role guys in a way, because as of right now, your defense is kind of just, as you said, Dak Prescott's playing one of the greatest seasons that he's played, but you need two sides of the ball in order to win those clutch games.
I mean, you guys are talking about the Dallas Cowboys, but how about earlier this week, an unlikely team to make a trade, the Patriots trading to a team that needed a defense, the 49ers, an unlikely trade. They traded two starters away in Kyle Duggar and Keon White. And Keon White is still on his rookie contract, very young, hasn't fully developed to what he was expected to be. And they trade him away for a 6th-round pick. It's in exchange for a 7th as well. It's crazy. You have this Patriots team who's, I think, far beyond anyone's expectations. They're doing great, and you trade two starters to a 49ers team, much like the Cowboys, who need help on defense to fill in those gaps where they had with injuries. I think the Cowboys should have made that trade instead of the 49ers.
Yeah.
Because I truly believe the Cowboys could have done a lot more good with those players than the 49ers
Oh, yeah,
will.
definitely. I was going to say, the Cowboys and the 49ers are not the same right now. I'm sorry, all you 49ers fans, but they're not. I mean, 49ers just injured on every side of the ball, and for once, Christian McCaffrey is the one who's not injured, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. So, and obviously, I hope not to jinx that, but so it's like the 49ers, good trade maybe for the future. This season, it's not going to do them much, but hopefully we see some types of trades for a lot of teams. Trade deadline's always super interesting for us as fans, but
yeah. So, but one final time for us, what trade do you want to see that happens before November 4th, the trade deadline?
One trade that I absolutely want to see is Breece Hall get out of that terrible Jet situation. They haven't used him right. He needs to go to a team that will use him correctly.
I love that idea. I'm going to go with, I was talking about the Cowboys. I'm going to stick with the Cowboys. Obviously, I'm a Bills fan. I'd love to see a wide receiver added, but I'd love to see that Max Crosby to the Cowboys trade. I think, even though the Raiders said no, I would love to see it.
yeah, I think I agree with you. I wasn't going to say it just because I don't think they're going to go with it, the Raiders side. But let's say Cowboys offer Trayvon Diggs, 1st-round pick and a 2nd-round pick for it. Save your 1st-round picks, though, to get some other picks. Because like I said, it's not going to take one player. And we have a rookie coming up that could kind of replace that Diggs role. And I love Diggs, but right now it just doesn't seem like it's fitting very well. And then you get Crosby in to replace Parsons.
Yep. But yeah, that's all from us today. The trade deadline is the 4th, so we are just going to have to see if what we said goes. That's all we have for you guys today on the football segment of the Huddle. Maya, let's send things back over to you.
Well, that is all for this week's episode. Thank you to everyone who joined, but I gotta say I'm a little disappointed with the lack of costumes. But make sure to follow our socials down below to check out what the crew is dressed as. We'll see you next week, everybody. I'm your host, King Bob. Thank you and happy Halloween.